Hey, hi, how are you? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever and wherever it is that you decide to watch this video. And for today, I'm going to give you my quick review of Pokemon Legends ZA. I just beat the game last night. Took me about, I want to say 37 hours to beat, and that's by doing the main campaign, doing all the side missions that I can along the way, catching Pokemon in the wild zones. And right now I just reached what is the post-game cleanup, the post-game side quest I'm about to do, which I will tackle later on. But I just wanted to take this moment to give my thoughts and opinions on this game. I've been waiting for it since it was announced. I remember they announced it. I got excited because this could be a chance to get the Pokemon Z that never was back when Gen 6 was all the rage that they had to cancel because they wanted to focus on Pokemon's 20th anniversary and Sun and Moon, and so we sadly never got that. So this, for me, could have been an opportunity for them to do something with Gen 6 to expand upon it. And after beating the game last night, I can confidently say that this is one of my favorite Pokemon games of all time. I can confidently say that. First of all, let me get the negatives out of the way, okay? Let me get those out of the way. Yes, graphically speaking, this game is not the best. It looks fine, but a lot of wall textures are flat, a lot of animations are okay, and you know, it's an area that could have been done better. And the lack of voice acting also affects the overall enjoyment of the game's story, which I will get into later. I wish that a lot of segments in this game had some form of voice acting, so it's a huge bummer that this game doesn't have any at all. And also in terms of Lumiose City, not a lot of diversity in terms of location. It's all in one city. A lot of the districts look the same, and that is not a detriment to me, but it is something to keep in mind when you play the game. Now, with all that out of the way, everything else about this game is fantastic for me. Where do I even begin? The gameplay itself, the new combat system that Legends ZA introduces. Legends Arceus had a different combat from the main core series of Pokemon games. It was still turn-based, but you can choose how fast or how strong it would be, and that would change the dynamic of how turns would work. Wild Pokemons could attack you, you could get damaged, you can get hurt, and so it introduced a lot. And this game, once again, does combat differently. This time it is a more active style action combat. It's not turn-based. Moves are in a cooldown. Certain moves have certain ranges, certain charge times, certain wait times to use them again. This brings in a whole new different strategy into how you fight other Pokemons. Some moves suffer, some Pokemon suffer in this, but overall, this is a really, really great combat system to have, and it's so fun, especially later on when you unlock more moves, have more Pokemon. The way that you think of how the game works is just overall a fantastic combat system, and I can't wait to see how the next Legends game changes up the combat even more. And speaking of Legends, Legends Arceus introduced the concept of wild zones, which is areas that you would catch wild Pokemons. That is back in a way in this game. And those wild Pokemons, those alpha Pokemons, which do come back, they are a pain. They hurt you. They are even more aggressive towards you than they were in Legends Arceus. It is so much fun, but it is so scary to fight against them. I would not recommend you tackle this lightly. Be prepared, and certain time of day again brings different Pokemon, so you have to focus on that. And the wild zones are so fun, and they're a good way to complete the Pokédex if you want to 100% complete them. There's also a research tab like that gives you different tasks to collect a certain amount of Pokemons of a certain type, win certain amount of matches, get certain amount of collectibles, evolve in different ways. It is such a fun gameplay loop that is so addicting to play through. To talk a bit about the story of Legends ZA without getting into any spoilers whatsoever, this has quite possibly some of the best writing I've seen out of a Pokemon game in a long time. A lot of the characters, especially some of the late game characters, have amazing dialogue. A lot of the NPCs have such great, funny writing. It's so quirky. It has a certain type of edge to it that's not been seen in a Pokemon game in a long while. And the story in general is so great and so engaging, which is so sad when you remember that, again, this game doesn't have voice acting, and this game has a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of dialogue in this game, and it would have been great to have voice acting to at least voice a lot of different cutscenes. Specific cutscenes I feel like would have hit a lot better, especially in the ending, which it's wild, by the way. That the ending sequence in this game is absolutely wild. You will not be prepared for what you will see in that ending sequence, but it would have been even better if there were voice acting. And but besides that, it is still a great story. Now, the main gimmick of the story, the main gimmick of Legends ZA is the ZA Battle Royale, in which every night certain districts of Lumiose City have certain battle zones that you have to beat certain amount of trainers to get certain amount of points in order to reach the next rank, and that is a fun gameplay loop. I was afraid that this was going to be very grindy, it was going to be very repetitive. I was afraid for the pacing, especially after like a certain point. I was very worried about how they were going to handle the pacing, but it turns out it works out great the way they handle it. And it's just a fun gameplay loop, and a lot of those battles for the promotion matches, which make you rank up. Think of these like gym leader fights in regular Pokemon games. They are hard. They are surprisingly hard. They will use tactics. They will catch you by surprise sometimes. So you have to be careful about how you prepare for those fights. And in general, this game is pretty challenging. The new combat system makes this a pretty challenging Pokemon game, and that's welcome. There's a certain side quest right at the end of the game which has to like fighting 10 trainers in a row, which I had to skip over. I couldn't do that side quest because it was so hard, and I wouldn't even say I'm under leveled. I'm like right at their level, slightly above them, and they kick my butt hard. That's gonna be a hard one to tackle later on in the end game. And speaking of side quests, there's a lot of side quests in Legends ZA. They're very simple side quests. They're not story heavy side quests, but they are so much fun to go through because, again, the writing, the quirkiness, the edginess sometimes, it is such a joy to witness what type of stories this game has to tell. There is a side quest that has you joining a Starmie cult that worships Starmie like they were aliens. It is so... What am I looking at? It is such a funny way. And there's a side quest, I'm not going to spoil it. There's a side quest involving a Litwick that the implications, the undertones of it Oh my god. I was not expecting out of a Pokemon game. I wasn't expecting that out of a Pokemon game. There's certain stuff in the story that I wasn't expecting out of a Pokemon game. It's very, very adult, while still feeling like a children's game. And that's something I can compliment Game Freak on with this game. It's very clear that that's what the Legends brand for Pokemon is trying to be. We saw that with Legends Arceus. We are seeing that clearly with this game. And it's just such a joy to play through this game. I've been rambling on and on about this game, and you know, there's not a lot of focus. It's just I just recently beat this game. I don't have a script for this, but all in all, I can't help but feel that again, this is one of my favorite Pokemon games of all time. One of them. And maybe this is just my X and Y bias. Those were some of my very first Pokemon games that I got for myself. That's the time when I started to play every single Pokemon game the year they released. And so again, maybe that's a bias on my part. But even if I didn't have that bias, if I didn't have that bias for Kalos, for Lumio City, for the starters of this game, for the vibes that those games had, this game, while not being Pokemon Z, the Pokemon Z that we never got, and I won't even say if it's technically like Black and White 2 in terms of, in comparison to Black and White, but as a sequel to Pokemon X and Y, as a Legends game, as a continuation of Legends Arceus, Pokemon Legends ZA for me is one of the best that Pokemon has to offer, and I can't wait where Game Freak takes the Legends brand moving forward. There are leaks on what may or may not happen in the future of Legends games, but from what I heard, I am very interested, and there's nothing else left I can say for this game. If I had to give it a score, which I technically don't do scores here, this game would be an 8 out of 10. It is a great game. Please do yourself a favor and play this game. Yes, I know, graphically speaking, not the best, but move past the graphics. Just look past the graphics for just a moment, and you will see an amazing, great Pokemon game. So I'll leave you all with that. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Have you played Legends ZA? Have you beaten Legends ZA? What are your thoughts on this game? Agree with my opinion, disagree with my opinions? Again, leave them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe so you can see more from me and this inconsistent upload schedule. You'll probably see me next time from when Metroid Prime 4 releases in December. So yeah, I'll see you guys probably then. Bye.